I may be botching your name, Garvey Neal, who recommended, hey, why don't you do the Coachman from Pinocchio? Again, this may have already been planned, but it doesn't mean we recognize the people who make this happen. Garvey, here's a shout out to you. And now, let's start the show. Cue the music. Hello, and welcome to this part of the pond, where it's the bullfrog and the one, the only, Newt.
Face reveal at 100,000 subscribers.
We would love to have the subscribers, and you would love to see that face. If Michelangelo saw the Newt's face, he would go, should have done David a little bit different. He needed the Newt's face, not that face. He needed the Newt's face.
It's definitely a good way to win some editing points.
And if you're new to the pond, we are over-analyzing all these Disney villains. And we are doing it through Viva la Formula, where we're going through the mathematical side, design, presence, power, and henchmen. And there's a little essay side, the acts of villainy. If you want a better description of the formula and the rules that's in it, check this link in the description. And you'll get more of an understanding what is it that we are doing. And we're going to begin with design. And the Coachman's design, what Walt Disney did was he made him a little bit more, kind of like me, a little plump. Well, actually, if you can compare to plumpness, I may be more Stromboli than Coachman. Coachman's a lot more plumper than me. He's more like a newt than he is the frog.
Losing some of those points you just earned.
Well, guess what? That's what the Coachman has. But it's more of a physical plump than just an overweight plump. And he has a pretty blah design. Not like blah blah, like Disney didn't try, far from it. He's just, well, red with the gold buttons, and not to mention the blue scarf and that awesome little doily hat. I think it's a doily. I could be wrong. But that feather just sells it. But two things about the Coachman's design that we also need to acknowledge is the famous face, where he goes, well, they won't come back as boys. That big smile, the eyebrows, where you can really see those green eyes. And that blonde part of his hair kind of looks more like horns. It's almost like a devil look. It's very devilish. That's just one moment, and that's just it. Does that help us design? No. But there's a little bit more mystery to the Coachman than we realize. How? Well, by pointing out the villain that won't be on this list. Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Bullfrog, what does he have to do with this? If you watch Gravity Falls, you start to notice something interesting. Characters with 3 fingers, characters with 5 fingers, and a character with 6 fingers. But we're talking about Pinocchio and the Coachman. Yes, we are. If you watch Pinocchio, you see a hint of a Gravity Falls. Or Gravity Falls is showing hints of Pinocchio. Because guess what? Geppetto, 4 fingers, thumbs. When Pinocchio, when he becomes a real boy, 4 fingers, thumbs. Lanley, 4 fingers, thumbs. Stromboli, 4 fingers, thumbs. Honest John, 3 fingers, thumbs. Gideon, 3 fingers, thumbs. The Coachman's henchman, 3 fingers, thumbs. Jiminy Cricket, 3 fingers, thumbs. Pinocchio as a wooden boy, 3 fingers, thumbs. The Coachman, 3 fingers, thumbs. So he's not human? Because everything that's not human has 3 fingers, thumbs. You'll go, Bullfrog, wait a minute. That is very interesting. But the blue fairy has 4 fingers, thumbs. But she's not human. Does she break the theme? Well, it could just be Walt Disney was trying to go for a design. And again, the blue fairy is one of 3 Disney females that has their eyes properly proportioned to their face. So her design is just that Disney's trying to keep her realistic and whole. Then why does everyone else that is unnatural have their number of fingers? The Inhumans have that, but the blue fairy doesn't. Is that trying to say that the number of your fingers makes you more pure, more holier than thou? But Jiminy Cricket isn't. So it's not that. Is this saying that the blue fairy is more closely related to a human? So what does this put the Coachman? That face that we see, the infamous smile of that they won't come back as boys. Is that saying that the Coachman is a devil? Is he something else entirely? Suddenly, there's more mystery to the Coachman. He's less human. He's not whole. What is he? We don't know. Where does he go for his design? Well, before we get into that, let's not forget that part of design is your voice yourself. This is animation. So let's go to our handy dandy notebook. And in here, he's played by, well, what do you know? Charles Jules. Why does that name sound familiar? Stromboli. The man that has the energy and who could go fast and harsh is playing the Coachman, where he's more quiet, but it doesn't mean there's volume and weight to his voice. There's this almost sense of mystery to him, being quiet. You don't know who he is. You don't know his name. It's just Coachman. What does this do for his design? Well, again, unless you re-watch this film, you may notice the fingers on everyone. So with his design, I think it gives him a 2. A 2 out of 4. It's not bad, far from it. You're not going to get beaten apart or hurt. No, so yeah, we give him a 2. And so we go into presents now. And the Coachman, his presence is very different than most levels. So it gives presence. Because presence is when you enter a room. Presence is your introduction, mostly. Presence is that air you bring. That's always at the beginning. The Coachman, his presence is more closer to the end. Because when you first meet him, you don't really know him. You're going, what the heck is this guy? And then he goes, the famous smile. Okay, there's presence there. That sudden, not violence, but that sudden point of absorbing and taking control. And with that smile, that gave him presence. And that happened closer to the end. And you see the presence again when he introduces all those little boys to Pleasure Island. He lets them go and they're having their way, and then he just goes around, pulls out his whip to his henchmen and says, close the doors, close the doors. There's presence there. And when all the boys are jackasses and he pulls out his whip and lets it go and you see nothing but his shadow, there's presence there. His presence, he doesn't establish it at the beginning. It's there at the end. His presence is almost like a part of his character, where he lulls you to a sense of safety and then he strikes. It's good. I'm not denouncing that. It's really good. But it doesn't mean you hold our attention at the beginning. So I think his presence gives him a 2. Again, it doesn't hurt him. Far from it. It says that there's something there, but not enough. And now to power. The Coachman's power. Well, it's first established he is wealthy. I mean, when he pulls out that bag of gold coins and says, "How about real money?" Honest John's lights just go, "Okay, do go on." He has money. He has the means. He has the coach. He has the steamboat. He has the henchmen. So, yeah, it looks like he has a lot. But in power, he also acknowledges his weakness. Because what does he say to Honest John for the real money?
I'm collecting stupid little boys.
Uh, oh, what? Play that again, Newt?
I'm collecting stupid little boys.
Ah, so is power. I'm sorry, I need to take a shower. I never thought Pinocchio or Disney, Walt Disney. This is not modern day or anything. This is Walt Disney during the golden years of innocence. Openly has a villain acknowledge his flaw is he cannot get little boys to follow him. I yeah. Okay, let's just get this out of my hair. And I love my hair. It's beautiful locks. Rinse and repeat. He openly admits he can't get a little kid to follow him, a little boy that he's trying to collect, stupid little boys. So he recruits Honest John. Because he knows he can collect stupid little boys for him to send to Pleasure Island. Okay, what I said alone speaks wrong on so many levels. And and Honest John does this. He's getting paid. So the coachman recruited Honest John to be his recruiter. When did I walk into a Joaquin Phoenix Joker film? Who is responsible for Pinocchio, Newt? Not the movie, the original. Well, you're going to put his name up right here, right? Put it right here. I want to look down on this guy so I can say, what the heck? No, I'm sorry. Let me do this properly. What the hell? I'm saying sentences I never thought I would say in my entire life. What is with you? Making a jackass out of yourself, to quote Jiminy Cricket? You're sure making me look like a one for sure. What the hell? Look what Pinocchio is leading me to. Look what the coachman is leading me to say. What the hell? Bullfrog, you're taking this too much, right? Am I? And this is just his power. You know what? He recruits. He got Honest John. His power level is at 3 out of 4. And before I can get to the acts of villainy, let's just go through his henchmen. Because this is just nuts. Well, let's just do it. His henchmen you don't see that much of. When you first meet them, they're in the background closing the door. The only time you could really analyze what they look like is when they're pulling the donkeys out. Well, not donkeys, they're really little boys turned into donkeys. They pull them out and they send them to the coachman. And they're locking them up in cages. So, well, not cages, boxes to be precise, but it's basically a cage. They're sending them off to be sold. They just do what the coachman says. They know their place, and that is to serve their master. And in that scene where you see them pulling out, it's the best time to overanalyze them. Black fur, 3 fingers, 2 thumbs, and they have the same green eye, and they have green eyes. It's not a pupil or anything, it's just green. Like the coachman, just green. This is unnatural levels, people. So their coachmen don't really, but it doesn't mean they're low. Far from it. They are doing what a henchman does. Follow the master, and the master is independent from them. So yeah, there are 3. And now to the main reason why I'm just out of control and losing my freaking mind. Acts of villainy. Let's begin with that scene again, where he's recruiting Honest John to do his bidding. He pays him, and his acts of villainy is collecting stupid little boys. Wow. Okay. And when I watched this movie, I had a Mandela effect. I thought Honest John was scared of Pleasure Island. But after rewatching it, he states that Pleasure Island is against the law. It's against the law to send little boys to Pleasure Island. Okay, it should be against the law no matter what. He's breaking the law to do this. And he sends a recruiter collecting little boys to go on a coach, to go on a steamboat that leads to a secluded island. I knew. Who knew the big opal comes so in handy? Oh, handy. This is wrong on so many levels. And you know what's worse? He is not responsible for every little boy turning into a jackass. It's not his fault. What are you trying to say, Bullfrog? He sent them to the island? Yes, he did. By George, he did. But turning them into the donkeys? Not his fault. Jiminy Cricket says it.
Go on, laugh. Make a jackass out of yourself. I'm through. This is the end.
And the coachman says it when they first go on the island.
Give a bad boy enough rope and he'll soon make a check off himself.
And then when has those when the little kids are donkeys and they're talking, playing they don't want to be a donkey, he cracks his whip, you see the shadow, and he says this.
You boys have had your fun. Now pay for it.
He's not responsible. He's not responsible. He's just collecting from the island. And when you know what? I want to analyze this is going off script, but I can't help but go, Pleasure Island shows its power in a far more interesting level. If you're a rowdy, rough boy, you turn into a donkey. But if there's a sense of something good in you, you can still retain some form of humanity. You see it because the donkeys are still talking.
And what might your name be?
Alexander.
And Lanley, the total jackass he is, turns into a jackass. But Pinocchio, he only gets the ears and tail and the bray of a donkey. What are you trying to... It looks like the island has a power, but the more you hold on to what is good, that you're still that innocent boy. The island doesn't corrupt you. The island shows who you are. And Pinocchio has a little jerk in him. He gets the ears, the laugh, and the tail. But that's it. He's still a good boy. He just hasn't experienced the whole lot of the world just yet. Pleasure Island is a dark place where the truth is revealed. Pinocchio is a good boy with a little few faults. Lanley is a total jackass. And some of those boys weren't wholly there. They still retain some form of human decency. This movie is messed up. But yet, you can't help but acknowledge, wow, that's a little deep. But now it's going back to on track to the Coachman and how this man is making me do this. And I think it's part of the worst part about him. Yes, he's... Okay, let's just have him say it. I'm tired of saying it.
I'm collecting stupid little boys.
There, he said it. He's doing that, sending them to Pleasure Island, and what he does next, I think, is worse than sin. Once you're a jackass, you have the test.
And what's your name? And what might your name be?
Alexander.
Okay, you can't talk. Strip his clothes off and lock him in that crate. Like I said in Stromboli, Pinocchio may be a wooden boy, but he's still a boy. These donkeys may be donkeys, but they're still boys. He's tearing their clothes off of them. Rated M for mature. He's dehumanizing them. He's stripping their clothes. He's stripping off the last vestiges of what makes you a human. You can no longer speak. You no longer have thumbs and fingers. You are nothing but an animal, pure and simple, but you have your memories. You know what you are. And I just stripped what's left of you. You're now naked like an animal. Okay, I think I may be drinking a lot on this video, but do you agree with me? I need to take a drink. What is the matter with you, Disney? What's the matter with you? Oh. So he's stripping the humanity from these boys, and he's going to sell them to a salt mine, where they're going to spend the rest of their lives to die, pulling carts. And they're already young boys. And they're going to grow up into a donkey and die as a donkey, pulling these salt carts. And he collects the money to pay and gives a sample of it and gives plenty to Honest John to collect more boys and do it again and again and again and again. People, he wasn't stopped. He's still going. And who's know what he's going to do to those little kids that still retain some form of humanity?
He can still talk.
Those who can speak, is he just going to hover and wait until they just lose it? And they'll share that same fate? To spend the rest of your life till you die? Okay. This has gone to a dark place. And you know what? Let's just get this out of the water so that way I only have to say this once. Okay? He's selling these kids to a salt mine to pull carts. Well, some donkeys are not only meant to pull carts, but some of them are meant to breed. Okay, where does he go? Well, as you can tell in our groupings, we go green, you're basically a good guy, but yet there's a little bad in you. Yellow, you're almost there, and red is the fire piece of hell. And we go from low to high, and there's high. This guy is definitely a high red, if there's ever been such a thing as a high red. And if you saw anything that is in my first video, which I highly you go to, Coachman, you're in the fire pits of hell, you're a high red. I hope you're happy, and I hope I don't have to do this again. By the way, this is the bullfrog and the newt, hoping for a lot more uplifting video. All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Time for a cavity search. I haven't had a cavity in over 40 years. I wasn't talking about your teeth. Nor was I.